Hello, greetings everyone. You are welcome to the JMA Connection. Today is Wednesday, the 19th of November 2025. I'm delighted to be here once more this morning to bring a quick update on the situation in the southern Cameroons and also in the Republic of Cameroon. But first, I want to address a question that has been asked of me currently. A lot of you had reached out to me inbox. Some have put it in the chat, requesting a comment. I mean, a reaction regarding a recent call that the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is said to have made to Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon. I will say the president of Cameroon, like I said before, Cameroon right now has two presidents. You have a president who is enjoying legality and another one who is enjoying legitimacy. Because some of you come and ask me, so you still call Paul Biya president. So who is president now at the end of the day? I've said this and I will reiterate it. Listen, countries need somebody to function with in every state. And so, therefore, the countries in the world, the international community, will take note of a situation that is prevailing on the ground, and at the time that they are seeing it, they have interest, they have to continue to protect. So I'm coming here now to look very quickly at that letter and let us together make meaning of it, because I've seen quite some debate going on about this on social media. Like I've said, I've also seen a lot of comments with people saying we want to know more about that call and what it implies with respect to the current political quagmire in the Republic of Cameroon. So if you are new on this platform, please go right ahead and subscribe to this platform so that you will stay informed. And if you're already subscribed, very awesome. Make sure you share the link to this communication as much as possible so we continue to reach as many people as we can. So, this is first of all that text, because it says here that this is Secretary of State Secretary Rubio's call to with Cameroon president, and this was on November 17th. So this call happened 2 days ago, and this is the transcript that I give below. I will not take a lot of our time reading all of it because we already know it. All we want is, a comment about it, because they say the Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke with President Paul Biya to congratulate him on his inauguration. Again, not to congratulate him on his re-election, to congratulate him on his inauguration. So he said during the conversation, the Secretary of State discussed deepening the partnership between the United States of Cameroon to advance, shared goals, including strengthening security as well as achieving regional peace and prosperity for both nations. The Secretary commended Cameroon for its role as far as as a partner in the fight against terrorism. Now, I had come to this platform before and I established, the uh, the difference. There's some slight difference, very slight, because you must note this. The language of diplomacy is not the ordinary language that you and I use in our various, professions. The language of diplomacy is very subtle. Diplomacy has a customer. Diplomacy has its own customs. Diplomacy has, its own approach to everything. And in the world of diplomacy, words matter. The placement of words matter. Even handshakes and the way the handshake is made matter. Even just this thing you say, cheers, you toast with the glasses. The way the toasting is done matters. It communicates a message. So the world of diplomacy is not our ordinary world that you see. You begin by asking yourself, why is it that in the case of Cote d'Ivoire with Alassane Dramane Ouattara, the United States of America sent a letter of congratulations to Alassane Dramane Ouattara on his re-election as president of Cote d'Ivoire. Listen very well. Congratulations on his re-election as president of Cote d'Ivoire. But for Cameroon, the United States took its time, not even immediately. And when it decided to react, it congratulated Paul Biya on his inauguration as president. So this is what I want you to understand. I had talked here about legality and legitimacy. The United States of America is acknowledging what I've acknowledged here, that Paul Biya enjoys legality. The institutions on the ground pronounced Paul Biya winner of the election. The institutions on the ground inaugurated Paul Biya as president of the republic. Paul Biya is seated there at Etudi. The military is answering to him. Every other institution that's currently in Yaoundé now, they are answering to him. So the United States of America is acknowledging this, is taking note of this. Paul Biya enjoys legality. Now, did Paul Biya really get the mandate of the people? The mandate of the people is supposed to be given with the election. Did Paul Biya enjoy the mandate of the people? Now, if he did, and there was no protest, and there was no reason to say irregularities marred the vote and all whatnot, the United States of America would have congratulated Paul Biya on his re-election as well. This is what we need to know. We will not be here talking about nuances in words. The mere fact that we are talking about nuances in words tells you already that there is a problem. That is why the former U.S. Undersecretary of State in charge of the Bureau of African Affairs, Tibor Nagy, has continued to make clear that, of course, thankfully, it is congratulations on his inauguration, not on his re-election. This is a seasoned diplomat. He's not any Tom, Dick, or Harry. Listen, these people don't give a damn to our opinions. They don't give a damn about what you think. That we will come and say, yes, oh, let's forget about this thing. Let it be very square and fair and short. The United States has recognized Paul Biya as president of Cameroon. The United States needs someone to interact with as it works to protect its interests in Cameroon. Does it sink? Because this is what it is. Every other country in the world operates with other countries basically in terms of interests. International Relations 101 tells you that nations don't have friends on the international scenes. No, they have interests. Even if they say they have friends, friendships are not permanent. What is permanent is interests. The United States of America has enormous interest in Cameroon, especially in the northern parts of Cameroon. And so the United States of America will have to operate like walking on eggshells to make sure it is protecting its interests. The United States of America is also very concerned with the strategic position of Cameroon in the Gulf of Guinea. You look at, I want to give you a simple pointer. Look at the building hosting the U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé. That kind of building, you have just about 5 or 6 of them maximum on the African continent. They are not like that everywhere in every other country. You see, America makes such significant investments is because of the strategic location of the partner and the strategic kinds of interest that it stands to protect. You are all aware that the Persian Gulf in the Middle East is a Gulf beset with a lot of challenges. And so at any moment, the flux of businesses on the Persian Gulf can be interrupted. Anything can happen. Iran can at one moment or the other decide to do one or two things inside that Gulf, depending on the political climate, especially in their relations with Israel. So this much the global powers know. And if there are problems with the Persian Gulf, the next most important Gulf they want to pay attention to is the Gulf of Guinea. And this Gulf of Guinea, Cameroon, southern Cameroons, are strategically located at the heart of the Gulf of Guinea. So this explains why the United States of America will maintain its interest. And then besides, do not forget, Issa Chiroma Bakari himself had given an answer to these questions that you are asking just before Paul Biya's inauguration. When Issa Chiroma Bakari was said to have disappeared for some 4 days from Garoua, and they said, oh, he went out, he did this, and oh, no, they finally came back in. Issa Chiroma Bakari made a speech. And in that speech, he made a statement that he had reached out to the international community for at least some kind of understanding and assistance in being able to deal with the electoral banditry in Cameroon. And Issa Chiroma said, The response he got from the international community was that Cameroonians will have to begin by counting on themselves. Nobody will come and do it for you people. And then he concluded by saying it's even going to be an error to be counting on people to come from somewhere else to do for you what you ought to do for yourself. And again, let's be clear about this whole thing. If Cameroonians at the end of the day decide to resign to fate and decide to surrender to the Biya system, and then life returns really to normal completely, everything goes, everything returns to normal, and finally Issa Chiroma Bakari disappears into oblivion, and you don't hear from him again, you don't hear anything, he stops protesting, people decide no longer to say anything and just sit back there and say, okay, Paul Biya, you have stolen the victory, now take it. The international community will begin to even give greater recognition to Paul Biya. They cannot come in a house which is seemingly at peace and say we want to put order. What order? What order are you talking about? It's the same thing with the Southern Cameroons. A lot of people have been asking questions. Oh, why is it that the world is quiet with what is going on in the Southern Cameroons? I told the people of the Southern Cameroons, I've said this in outing after outing after outing, that we better sharpen the teeth of our liberation movement. We better do what? Sharpen the teeth of our liberation movement. If we sharpen the teeth of our liberation movement, the world gets up one morning and discovers that the colonial administration of Cameroon has been pushed out of Menchum, pushed out of Boyo, pushed out of Gokutunja, pushed out of Bui, pushed out of Donga Mantung. They know that at this point, these people are actually looking for independence. They are not seeking regime change. And so from that moment, they see that those administrators are being kicked out. They no longer have influence. You see, you no longer have Cameroon's presence. The Republic of Cameroon's presence, even by any extent in Donga Mantung, in Bui, or in Manu. Do it even in just one. You kick out everybody, say this one, now you have claimed this territory, is yours. You start operating from that territory. The world will acknowledge that things have taken a different twist. The global community will acknowledge it, and they will say, now look, this thing is no longer what we thought it was. But if we continue to do maintenance as we are doing, all hoping that Cameroon will get burned out, and Cameroon hoping that we will get burned out, the world will just stay by and be watching. So for the people of the Southern Cameroons, we want to make greater meaning. We want to speed up our liberation movement. I've said this quietly a lot. I've said this at various caucuses and all whatnot. I've said this in various sessions. Let us do the needful. Sharpen the teeth of your liberation movement. The global community will not come into a situation which seems to be enjoying some relative peace. That's why you see the government of Cameroon every day trying to convince the world that there is normalcy in Southern Cameroons. Because as long as the world believes that there is normalcy, nobody bothers about anything. But if they get on the morning, they say the deal, all the deals, the colonial deals in say Momo have been kicked out. The colonial senior divisional officer has been kicked out. There is no more La Republique presence in Momo County. And right now, Momo County is completely 100% run by the Southern Cameroon's liberators. Trust me, the world will take a different look at the situation that's going down. One county is enough. So this is what we need to know. So Issa Chiroma Bakari responded. So the world is looking. The world is observing, taking serious note of what is going on. Are the people backing down? No, the people are not yet backing down. Is Issa Chiroma Bakari taking steps to see that he defends his victory? Yes, he is doing that. He has appointed Alice Nkom as his spokesperson. Alice Nkom is in Douala. I saw someone come and say here that nothing has happened to Alice Nkom. Alice Nkom's home is surrounded by security operatives armed to the teeth. And if someone's house is surrounded and the person is inside the house, it means that this person is being held inside that house. You call that one house arrest. I don't know what language some people want to be used here so that they kind of understand what is going on. So this is what this whole thing is. So as Tibonagi is in the United States of America has interest to protect. You don't care about the rest. The day you successfully put Biya in difficulties and the whole place is in tatters, the United States of America will take note of the situation prevalent at that time. This should sink. And then again, take note. I want to say this. The world is divided into spheres of influence. This is per international relations. The world is divided into spheres of influence. And among the 5 superpowers, who are the permanent members of the UN Security Council, the various powers have their spheres of influence, where they are the ones that define the policy for the rest of the global community, especially when it comes to this whole notion of instruments of power. So, Cameroon finds itself within the French sphere of influence. You see, the Middle East is America's sphere of influence. That is why you will notice that France, Britain, Russia, China, all of those powers, they can make all the noise they want to make in the Middle East on the situation in Palestine and say we recognize Palestine as a state, we do this, we do that. It will go nowhere as long as the United States of America does not follow suit. All this talk of two-state solution, do this and that and all whatnot will come to nonsense if the United States of America does not finally say, I am standing for it. I agree. This is what has to happen and this is when it has to happen. It will flow. You see, the French recognize Palestine. The this and that recognize Palestine. The that and that recognize Palestine. At the end of the day, you notice that a few days ago, at the UN Security Council, all of those countries that recognized Palestine as a state have still come and voted to approve President Donald Trump's plan for Gaza. Does that make some sense? It should make sense. So with the situation in Cameroon, America can be protecting its interests in what it is saying. They are still looking to France. Unfortunately, there's not anybody can do about this. You want to do something about it, you look at what has happened in Mali. You try that approach. You want to do something about it, look at what has happened in Niger. If you have leaders with, with liver enough, try that. You see what happened in Burkina Faso. You have leaders with liver enough, try that. And don't forget, there is a constant effort to question the current world order. So 1 second. There's that constant effort to question the current world order. And Russia, which has stayed on the sidelines of African politics, has in the past few years demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that they have appetite to operate directly in Africa. So they are now beginning to question French influence in Africa. And this is very significant. But now look at, with the situation in Cameroon, what is the posture of France? You need to know this while you are looking at America. Why is America only talking about congratulations on your inauguration? Congratulations on your inauguration. No congratulations on your re-election. France congratulated Alassane Dramane Ouattara on his re-election. America followed suit immediately. Congratulated Alassane Dramane Ouattara on his re-election. For Cameroon, right up to this minute that I'm doing this broadcast, France has still not congratulated Paul Biya. They haven't. I just asked the bot, because this is important. I just asked the bot, has France finally congratulated Paul Biya on his re-election? I'd like to share this with you all right here. The bot says, France has not issued formal congratulations to Paul Biya on his recent re-election win in October 2025. It says, instead, France has expressed deep concern over the post-election violence and political tensions in Cameroon. In a statement released by the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs, France indicated it had not that it had noted. France indicated it had noted. Listen, France, it had noted. This is again very significant. I've told you the language of diplomacy is different from what obtains in other spheres. So it says France indicated it had noted the results announced by Cameroon's Constitutional Council but did not offer congratulations. The statement urged all parties to show restraint, engage in dialogue, to show restraint, engage in dialogue, and called for the release of those arrested during the protests that followed the disputed election results. And the board goes on now to analyze quickly. It says this response is a significant diplomatic shift as France is a long-time ally of Cameroon. This cautious stance is a contrast to some African relations and organizations, such as the African Union, which did send congratulatory messages to Paul Biya. The United States also did congratulate Biya on the United States also did not congratulate Biya on the re-election win itself, but rather on his subsequent inauguration. This is from the bot. The bot says the United States also did not congratulate Biya on the re-election win itself, but rather on his subsequent inauguration. Go to the bot. Ask the question: has France finally formally congratulated Paul Biya? You will get this response. But you see, what is very interesting in that response is this particular last paragraph, where it says the United States also did not congratulate Biya on the election win itself, but rather on his subsequent inauguration. So this tells you that there is a nuance. So just the mere fact of this nuance should tell you things are not in the domains of the normal. And when things are not in the domain of the normal, we say it as it is. This much is what I had to say about this particular subject matter. And I guess my people of the Southern Cameroons get to understand this very well. This is why on this platform I have said over and over and over, we have to man up. We have to come together and do the needful. We have to put together the resources required to speed up our liberation movement, so that at some point they begin to say, we are taking note of the efforts of the people of the Southern Cameroons to take back their territory. If we continue just the way we are doing now, waiting for burnout on the side of La République du Cameroun, and La République du Cameroun waiting for burnout on the side of the people of the Southern Cameroons, the genocide in slow motion will continue. And it will take much longer for us to get to where we want to go. But if we want to hasten it, stop standing on the fence and waiting to see what other people will do to give you freedom. Come right into the parlor and make sure you make your own contributions regularly. And we make significant contributions to get this done. Freedom is the most expensive commodity in the world. Put that in your head. And so if we need that freedom, we do the needful. I come every day, I sit on this platform. I try to sensitize, to, contribute in the education, to contribute in the mobilization for the Southern Cameroons, because I have counted the cost of that freedom. And that is the price that I'm paying too. By doing this every day, I see some people come here and say, oh, now the focus is on La République du Cameroun. What about this? We will not win Southern Cameroons only by being present here. We have to use all kinds of strategies at our disposal to make sure we get our people finally realize what we need to do. I will never fall into that trap of wanting to explain too much here, because if I explain too much here, I will defeat the entire purpose. So thank you very much for your very kind attention. Make sure you share this communication as widely as possible. To God be the glory.